Now, I'd like to invite you to share with us about the externalization of the crystal star.
Mm-hmm. The externalization of the crystal star is, quite frankly, is also another term I think a lot of us have heard and not understood exactly what it meant. Many spiritual texts, many religious texts even have spoken of the return of Christ. And we're at the time where that indeed is something that is occurring, but not in the context of which many people can understand on planet, because the Christ is not a singular human being. As certain religions would propagate through their own interpretation, the Christ would be a man named Jesus, one human being that came here, and it's going to be his return. But in actuality, what's happening is the Christ consciousness is an actual intelligence field, and it is a part of our layers of spiritualities. So the return of the Christ, the return of the crystal star presence, is a type of intelligence field that is very different than what this planet has had in this density for a long period of time. When we understand, again, world of forces, world of energy, the frequencies that the third dimensional timelines existed within, the crystal star presence, or the cosmic Christ consciousness, is actually liquid. It's a liquid plasma kind of pulsar light, and it's a different kind of substance than we have had on planet Earth that exist at this elemental level, meaning the elements and the substances that we have on planet Earth. This particular quality of light source, of frequency, has not existed here in this way. So because of the opening within the galactic gateway that is open at this time, it has allowed that presence to access here on planet Earth, and again is a part of a lot of the quote-unquote war on consciousness, because the beings that had controlled this reality really did not want that to occur, because they wanted to control this reality into whatever means suits them, into their particular agendas and timelines. So the return of this is not something they're happy with at all. It is a type of frequency and an embodiment that is connected to also a mathematical architecture that aligns into the source light. So it's something that cannot be replicated and duplicated like the negative aliens have done in the past, because that's actually what has happened a lot. Is they're fantastic at creating realities, but what they've done is they've created dead realities that needed to be powered by some kind of source light. So soul bodies and human beings have been used to power and generate certain realities that they actually want to create in other time fields and timelines. This is sort of a parasitic relationship that's been created here on planet Earth. So the crystal star presence in Christ consciousness, to really describe what it is a mod of sustainability. The Christ light is not vampiric. It is not parasitic. It is fully sustained in its own direct connection with Source that is perpetually everlasting and perpetually eternal, meaning it is exchanging directly into the heart of God. And that exchange allows a perpetual supply of light and energy that is eternal. That is not what has happened on planet Earth here, because on planet Earth we've been in a finite energy supply, and that has been as well a part of the disconnection and the negative alien shenanigans in literally closing in on the quantic field of planet Earth, which also comprises the many souls that are here, the souls that have been incarnated and a part of this planet. So all of that energy, that quanta, has been harnessed and used, which again is a part of interfering with the Earth and the inhabitants here having the ability to actually connect to this eternal supply of light. So this particular configuration is indeed mathematical. And in the grid system on planet Earth, the Guardians call this chalice configurations, and these are actual mathematical proportions which allow a third field to be generated and create a trinity field, and that trinity, when it merges, becomes a neutral field. And the neutral field, like 0 point, is life-giving and life-enhancing, meaning it's sort of like a rejuvenation, and it really supplies energy, life force that really supports not only human beings but the planet. So the crystal star on Christ consciousness is, again, coming to planet Earth to end the consumptive modeling that has been put here as a part of the negative alien agenda, has been generated from that parasitic relationship, and again propagating that vampire relationship on the planet. And therefore, a lot of unconscious human beings also propagate the vampiric energy without understanding what they're feeding or what they're connected to. So as we come into the embodiment and the connection with the Christ and the inner crystal spirit, the Christ presence, we become more inner sustained. And this means that we don't need to vampirize, control, or manipulate things in the external reality in order to get power to manifest what we want, which is the game of the negative alien. So it's like saying, in order to control the many, in order to control certain realities on planet, there is a harvesting of human beings that are not using that energy source because they don't know it exists. So it's like saying, this is truth is truly stranger than fiction, but it's like saying, if you're aware of your soul and you don't know how to connect to that intelligence and power, which is an energetic source, somebody else is going to be using it. And that's exactly what's happened on planet Earth. This is why none of this information is made available to the human beings on this planet to actually participate with what's happening on planet Earth, because if human beings start to claim the return to rightful owner and realize they're multidimensional, they have spiritual bodies that they can access, that belong to them, that is part and parcel of them, it's their body part. So it's like saying the negative alien agenda has taken body parts that belong to humanity, and they were never given the right to do that from, again, the place of the guardian forces. Is like saying this is a violation where you're interfering with life forms. You're taking away their ability to connect to their own source. This cannot continue. And this is, again, why the crystal forces, Christ consciousness, is returned to planet Earth at the opening in the gateway allowed in the center of, again, our Milky Way galaxy. That opening, that alignment, phase locked and allowed the universal door to open, which allowed a pool of access. And this is why it's happening now. So, again, this has been a part of the return. You know, we've known this for a very long time. People have taught the return of Christ for goodness knows how long, that this was going to happen. We just didn't know when. And this is the time where that portal is open and allowed that access. And it's the end of consumptive modeling. It's the end of parasitism and vampirism and using other people's energies in order to manifest what you want. So this is, again, people are going to start to see this also in their own lives, and will start to receive, in a sense, backlash, because we have to learn the new physics laws are changing on planet Earth at this time, which means before you would have people using other people and their energies to manifest something. So this is the end of the false light period. We're still going to have a lot of people that are interacting with the false light. So being aware of that, because again, it's a re-education and a rehabilitation process to come into the awareness. But the good news is that those structures will cease to be supported in the same way. So we will start to see a lot more crumbling of those particular structures that cannot be sustainable on their own, meaning that there is some form of abuse that has been going on. And the sad part of this is most people that are participating with this have no idea what they're feeding. So this again, it is crucial to understand there is no judgment here. It's understanding that we have reached a milestone in the change of the physics on planet Earth, and we need to adapt and to understand how to work in harmony with those frequencies so that we can become in harmony with ourselves. This is the potential opportunity we have at this time. But we will obviously see the old pattern persist, because a lot of people are not understanding that change right now. But normally what will happen is the feeding line, meaning the yield of which someone in that position was getting, they will cease to yield the same kind of frequency that will sustain, meaning the quantic field of light that they've been using to manifest something. It will cease to be sustainable to the point that their organization will dismantle, their following will dismantle. And again, this is just one example of many. This is also applying to corporations, to, Apple, to, lots of businesses that have used deception, lies, marketing, putting lipstick on a pig, tricking people, into this hypnosis, buy this, right? This is consumptive modeling. So that consumptive modeling is coming to an end. So we're going to see some really interesting things in the next years, but also understand we're just beginning. This is a long time. We will probably see this going on for many years to come. But the beauty is that we have the opportunity to participate with that now and make changes in our life now, which again help us to have a more peaceful, joyful time through the process. Because I think the most painful thing is when we don't understand why something's happening to us in our life.
Right.
When we're being, our life is being dismantled, our money's gone, our relationship ends, we're like, oh my God, what did I do? And you're in this pain. So understanding context of dismantling is part and parcel of the ascension process, and attempting to participate with it from a point of context and understanding. You can say, look, this is very painful. I don't like this. At the same time, I understand something higher is at work here, and I need to honor that. That approach is going to make your life tremendously easier rather than kicking and screaming on the way. So you know what I mean? The more you resist, the more it's going to hurt. So understand there is a larger process at work now. The physics on planet Earth is changing. We will be required to adapt to that change. So relax. Try to find context in your own truth and what makes sense to you in terms of what you're dealing with in your day-to-day life, and try to relax into it and understand there's a higher meaning and purpose for this. And that makes it quicker and more rapid and much easier to grow.
Oh, gosh, incredible. You touched upon my next question a little bit, but I just want to maybe dig a little bit deeper into this area. What do you expect from the dark forces now that we've crossed over December 21st? Because as